This is the second video or part 2 video to the calculating gross pay and taxable pay. In this situation, we're going to look at employee number 2. They worked 35 regular hours during the work week in September 2014. The employee earns a salary of $121,000 per year and is exempt from overtime provisions under the FLSA. So to date, he has received no compensation beyond his annual salary. He has requested that his employer withhold 10% of gross pay, which is to be contributed to a 403B plan. Sorry about that. Okay, so his regular earnings then will be the $121,000 divided by 52 weeks. For a total of $2,326.92. No overtime provisions because he's exempt. So his gross pay would be $2,326.92. He's requesting that 10% be put away for his contribution to his retirement plan. So basically what I'm going to be doing is, or what you will be doing, is taking $2,326.92 times 10% to get his total contribution of $232.69. That brings his taxable pay or taxable amount down to $2,094.23. Okay. Has any amount exceeded the tax threshold? And no, it should not exceed it yet because he only gets paid $121,000 per year, and we are only in September. So the way I look at it is he won't be reaching the max of $117,000 until at least in the end of October or even into November. So, okay. So the taxable pay for Social Security would be the entire $2,326.92. And same thing for Medicare because Medicare has no cap. Okay. So there you have it for employee number 2. Employee number 3. I'm going to do it up here. All right, so for this employee, they worked 53 hours, 13 were overtime hours during the work week in November. The employee earns $10,100 a month, with his employer paying 1.5 times the regular rate of pay for overtime hours. To date, he has earned $114,514 during the year. He has requested that his employer withhold 12% of gross pay, which is then contributed to the 401k contribution. All right. So first of all, let's look at his regular earnings. So the way I'm going to calculate this is I'm going to take that $10,100. I'm going to multiply it by 12. Okay, because that's how much he gets per month. And then I'm going to divide it by 52 weeks. Remember in our earlier demonstration that when you know, or when you are trying to break down a monthly or semi-monthly salary, you need to make sure you convert it up first and then break it down into weeks. So let's go ahead and calculate or enter this formula in here. I'm going to go ahead and make this there. Okay. So basically his regular earnings is $2,330.77. His overtime earnings. Basically, we're going to be taking well, let's go ahead and do an extra step in here. I'm going to do that. Insert. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at I'm going to find his regular earnings or regular rate. His regular rate. And you can do this on the side or however you want. His regular rate will be 2,330 divided by 40 hours. Okay. So if we go ahead and take that regular rate, I'm going to break this down again. If we go ahead and take that regular rate of $58.27 times the 1.5 overtime provisions, we should get $87.41 for his, sorry about that, for his overtime rate. Okay. So now that we know the overtime rate, we can go ahead and take the $87.41 times the 13 OT hours that he had for a total of $1,136.33. That makes his gross pay $3,467.10 for his gross pay. His 401k contribution will be 12% of his gross pay, which is $416.05. All right. And the taxable pay for federal income tax withholdings then should be the $3,467.10 minus his 401k contribution of $3,051.05 to be considered for tax. All right. So we're going to go ahead and dictate if he has exceeded that cap of $117 as of November 2014. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a couple of trial runs. And this is what you should do too as well when you're doing your homework. And this is the only way to really dictate if they've exceeded that cap. So basically, if the employee earns $10,100 per month, okay, and let's say 11 months have passed, or let's do 10 because we want to make sure that as of October, he has not yet met or exceeded that cap. So I'm going to multiply by 10 months, okay? Or up to, because right now our calculation here is as of November. So if I calculate up to October, the last month, he has only made $101,000 as of October. So let's go ahead and calculate or take the 110 and multiply by 11, which is 11 months. Okay. So far, he's made as of November $111,100. Okay, and I made this a little harder than it was, but if we did not have anything stated like how they stated it here, he has earned $114,540 during the year or up to date. So we don't need to do all this calculation. When it's needed in the subsequent videos, I will show you exactly how it goes. But so basically, now that we know how much he needs, or has, excuse me, how much we need to take into consideration what's going to be taxed under OASDI, and we know how much he's made up to date, we can go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and take his salary, or the amount of gross pay for this period. I'm going to subtract the difference of $117,000 from what he's made so far up to date. So he, right here, I've got $3,467.10 that he's generated or had made up to date or for this pay period. Up to the year or up to date, or year to date actually, he's made $114,540. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract that from the $117,000 cap. And if I do this calculation in here, it's going to give me the amount that exceeded the $117,000 threshold. Okay, see how that formula is? So basically what I'm going to do is copy and paste this. Drag this out a little bit so you can see the entire thing. Okay, so you can go ahead and follow this format once you get to something like this, and it should work every single time as long as you know the cap, and as long as you know what they made up to date, and as long as you know the gross pay. So that would be the amount that would have exceeded that $117,000. Okay, so to determine the taxable pay, or what we're going to be taxing under Social Security, would be the difference of the gross pay minus the amount that's over the threshold. So we are going to only be taxing $2,460 for Social Security as opposed to $3,467.10. And for Medicare tax, it's always going to be the entire gross pay. Okay, so that's it for this one. If you have questions, please email me or call me. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.